No. Okay, if we could start wrapping up, we have about, we have to start wrapping up, so. Is everybody ready to present their postcards? Hello, hello. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to come to the conclusion. At some point, we must stop talking and start acting. No. Okay, very good. I hope everybody has written their postcards to the next conference. Ole will be very pleased to hear from you. And I will now, if each table could send one representative for one very short proposal or conclusion that you are planning to send to the next conference with the postcard. So we'll start with this table, please. And if you could introduce yourself briefly when you say.
Hello, everybody. So I am representing Lithuanian and Estonian team from the table number 1. So we have some proposals. First proposal is just one proposal? Oh, sorry. One proposal, Europe has to have common rules for refugees. So strict, not flexible, but adjusted according to every country. Small country, big country, Nordic country, South country, and so on. Okay, thank you.
You'll write the rest on the post. So, next table here. Are there? Yeah, ready? Yeah?
Okay, after a very short discussion, I would say that we came to a conclusion, integration through employment. That's like just about that.
One more sentence.
Yeah, well, we thought about money, about social issues, and those come together through employment, because employment is the space where we meet all of us. Well, we have a job. That's one of the communities that we are at every day, more or less. So integration through employment.
Thank you. Next table over there.
Hello, my name is Caroline. I'm from Germany and I'm studying at the University of Latvia. We were discussing about the European values and we came to the conclusion that for us Europeans, freedom and consensus are the most important values. We also talked about the topic of solidarity in the EU, and we are thinking that at the moment it's diminishing, the solidarity in the EU. And it's not just in regard to the refugee crisis, but also the solidarity among the regions in the EU with each other. We are building regional groups and leave other regional groups in the EU kind of alone with their problems. And we think this is due to the inequality in the economic level of the countries in the EU. Unfortunately, due to the lack of time in the group discussion, we couldn't really find a solution to this, but we think that we should keep to the motto of the EU that unity and diversity, that unity is diversity. And so, yeah, we have to be aware of the different regional problems and to be more solidar with each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. We could do this table next.
So regarding question number 3, which was the one we came to most consensus on, that if you have unequal challenges in a union and you don't help each other, then you're only a union by name. So that was a clear yes, we should do something to help each other. And then of course the question is what? And I think what we talked about and didn't really come to any sort of concrete thing was that a united solution doesn't have to be a unified solution. So we should look at does a certain state have something special they either need or can contribute, and how do we play that into the solutions we come up with? But that was the most concretely thing we touched upon, I think.
Okay. Thank you. We go to that table next.
Hello, my name is Mircea. During the discussions we had within our group, mainly we agreed upon that what defines Europe is humanism and diversity. So in this sense, if we relate to the second question, what is different, what is the difference between Europe and America? I think that Americans should ask themselves this. Don't you think? Okay. And of course, a solution towards this crisis, it's quite hard to sketch up unless we don't simply understand each other. I think that Europe should, or European states should share the common understanding, and because there are different backgrounds in Europe regarding nations and states. So I think that a common basis of understanding should be established. What I want to say, our suggestion to the postcard, well, we simply related our suggestion to the motto of the European Union. So I will say like that: if unity is in diversity, then Europe should be more diverse. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. We'll go to that table next, behind the columns, if you can.
So, we had an interesting discussion in English and Russian with translation, and there was a range of views. Our first postcard is emphasizing this need to rehumanize, and we were impressed by this concept that was presented to us on a couple of occasions, to emphasize humanity and really using that as a springboard towards a more sympathetic approach to refugees. Let's drop the word problem, to refugees, and take that forward. But there is a problem with how to achieve this rehumanization, because there is a problem with the negative attitudes in the traditional media. I know from the popular press in the UK, for maybe 20 years, we have had a barrage of negative ideas about immigration and about the other within our society. And that's the starting place for when we have these large numbers of refugees. Is new media the solution to find a way through? Well, maybe that's a question for the next conference. But certainly images can be very powerful. While there was the debate was sort of stopped in its tracks for a while by this image of a security man with a dead child on the seashore. And that image really was very powerful and maybe got people to stop and think about the situation. We have a robust alternative view from our colleagues from the Future Institute of Latvia, which is Eurosceptic. And their view is that Brussels has imposed a solution on Latvia and we have no way to protest, and that's not right. They also say that there are refugees here already, but the government lies to us about this and we don't trust them. So, there we are.
Okay, thank you. Next, at this table, please, your proposals.
Hello, my name is Alexander from Estonia. It seems to me that if we try to compare the United States and Europe, we may think that Americans tend to be more individualistic and Europeans tend to be more, say, they have a bigger sense of community and working together and so on. However, nowadays it seems that we tend to be more individualistic. And if I talk about Baltic states, in particular Estonia, it seems to me that Estonians have discovered that we have to pay back. We always consider that EU helps us and we get money and we get some kind of benefits from EU, and now it's high time to understand actually, gosh, we have to pay back. And I think that we need to explain to people that it's not bad if we try to pay back. How it can be done, I think that, as I already mentioned, and our group also agrees on it, that good communication, which directly supports people who have certain concern, have certain problems, we gather together, we discuss and cooperate. And of course, we include people who are refugees or immigrants. So solidarity versus individualism seems to be on a shaky ground, even in EU nowadays. Maybe because of this crisis, but maybe just because we are really individualistic. We rather have a myth that we are tend to be like one huge family. No, we are not, and it's time to find. Of course, I think that in case of Estonia and maybe in case of other Baltic states, that we would like to help. Maybe the question is that we are rather afraid of mass influx of people who we can't deal with them without proper understanding of the background, without proper measures and so on. I recall some discussions and some officials said that we rather give you money, for example, to help other member states, maybe this way. So it's a matter of some kind of balance to find that how Baltic states may, on the one hand, accept certain number of people, and then on the other hand, if we are not able to accept people, that we can give a certain share to other measures to help other member states. Yeah, I think that that was briefly all that we have managed to discuss.
Let's go to this table next.
Hi, I'm Anu, and I'm from Estonian Medical Students Association. What were our ideas on the topic is that we really like the idea that my Europe is our Europe, which means that we help each other. And I think it's the main difference from the American view, where it's more for yourself. On the third point, where we discussed about the unequal challenges, I think because of the unequal challenges, we need to prepare the local communities also. If we don't need to prepare only the refugees, but also we need to integrate them into our culture, so we need to prepare the communities. And also we thought that maybe European Union countries can help the camps, solidarity, like proportionally give some money or help or go there and teach our cultures, so we can start already from there. So these were the things that we discussed shortly there. Thanks.
Thank you. That table, I think.
So well, we discussed, and yeah, we found. I mean, we took a very practical approach for the postcard, and I mean, we want to tackle a core problem of the European Union, which is about values, and we suggest to create an art project on the values, and we were thinking what kind of values are European values, and we figured out that actually there's kind of we should aim for universal values, and for values which were formulated during the French Revolution, and those like liberté, égalité, fraternité, and that could take place in all European countries, and then include European countries and Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, and so on. Yeah, so not just only the European Union. and then that the selection of the outcome could then be in the form of a roadshow exhibited in every European country, so that we could really reflect on those values, and I'm quite sure that we can reunite based on those values, and it's worth to do. Thank you.
And last but not least, over to the corner there. Good.
So hello everybody, my name is Vaidotas Petronis, I'm representing European Movement Lithuania, and so we have maybe two opinions on all these tasks. The first one is common solutions to common problems, even deeper union. And other one, it's more my and somebody of my colleague agree also, let's stop talk and let's start act. So, thank you.
Well, that was an excellent conclusion. I think this brings us to the end of the conference. We'll still have a few concluding words, but just to conclude, I think we've had a lot of very good discussion. The discussions have been very lively, a range of opinions, but I think that is a very good conclusion to say, let's stop talking, let's start acting, let's do something. Now to conclude, I'd like to, first of all, remind you, I was reminding you about the postcards. Now I'm going to remind you once again about the webinar. 1 hour after, we're going to be going to lunch now, an hour afterwards in the next room, there'll be the webinar. If you want to participate, come up with more proposals, answer questions from the web, please say, Johanna will be meeting you at the door. Please tell her that you will be there and you have an excellent chance to communicate with the whole globe through the internet. Now, Ole, I understand you have something to say in conclusion here.
Thanks a lot. Well, I think you have been doing some very interesting comments. I myself at the moment sort of feel that you have emphasized values very much. I'm happy about that. I think this is a good start. That's my point of view. You have talked about unity and diversity, diversity and unity, etc., and about liberty, fraternity, and equality. And I think these are some of the values which you will also find, and I'm happy that we are in conjunction. You will also find in the paper with thoughts and questions for the My Europe Declaration. Now, in order to improve the My Europe Declaration, which you can see now, you have some sheets here and the rest is on the internet, is draft 2. Draft 3 will also include as much as possible of your comments. So when you leave this room, will you please leave your postcards and other comments in written form on this chair? On that chair. On that chair. These are the two first ones, right? So, yeah. And that's number one. Number two is that we will sum up the whole thing in the webinar. In the webinar, there will be some panelists who represent some of the points of view you have here, but you are all invited to comment, so I hope that you will come there and say, this is exactly what the thing I want to get through from this conference, for the next one and the other ones to follow. Thank you very much so far. See you at 1:30.
Hello. As the chairman of the International Sonnenberg Association, who is behind all of this, we got the idea, and I have to thank you very, very much. The Danish Cultural Institute, Niels, Johanna, and Simon, for fantastic work with fantastic speakers and a fantastic audience. Thank you. I hope that the coming conferences will be as good as this one. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Sorry for being late, but again, also in this first, I think it's very important we should say thank you to the people that made this possible. The Citizens Program of the European Union for supporting the My Europe project and thereby this conference. The European Parliament via its office in Estonia. The Von Mavisti Foundation for International Cooperation in Denmark. And also Alderis and Rolling, who has been sponsoring this conference. So I know it's menial, but the world does not work without money, and we are very grateful that they helped it. And also a lot of thank yous to the Danish state, who actually also funded a lot of this by our work here. And also thank you to the Sonnenberg Foundation for initiating this process. And a big thank you, and I think we should give a hand to Paul Rausted for our very good moderator during these 2 days. And then last but not least, it's this conference for our very small office here, who does a lot of other things. It's been a very big work, and for Nils and Johanne, who has been spending most of their days and most of their nights. I get emails from those guys after midnight with questions relating to this conference. So thanks a lot, guys. It's been wonderful. But of course, as Finn also was saying, first of all, thanks to you. Without you, this conference would have been empty. And so thank you very much.